Do you still fund the former president with his legal fees?
As a matter of fact, I didn't recently. Dolly phoned me the other day that I had to help another comrade.
2 weeks ago, we spoke about the problem of allowing just anyone into a position of power. Jacob Zuma is anyone, and today we're bringing you more proof. When we say anyone in this case, we're talking about dirty people, disgusting people, dishonest people. We as citizens need to have a sophisticated taste in politicians. We must be very, very selective. There are certain people who should never think that they can stand a chance to become a member of parliament in South Africa. If the country was in the hands of citizens that are smart enough and moral enough, there are definitely people who wouldn't be getting so close to our taxes. There are people that would just forget about a career in politics. Those people are characters like Jacob Zuma, and right behind him would be people like the former mayor, Kabelo Kwamanda, Julius Malema, and even Gayton McKenzie that I know many of you love very much. I know the message, he's a changed man, blah, blah, blah. But please understand me. I am saying these are people that have tainted their reputation, and the job of being a mayor, minister, member of parliament, even president, or even the idea of starting a political party should be far away from such people.
Then a story comes along that, guys, there's a second chance. I am saying, can you take the first chance as a black kid? Can you take the first chance? Just go to school. Go to technical college, get your trade, and get a job, get a wife, run a proper family. Don't go and say, I got a 35-year life sentence and I was able to reform in prison and I met the Lord and I got born again and all this other thing. Why don't you go straight for success? And when Jardine came on board and he narrates his story, and I'm saying we actually need this type of role model in the community. A guy who goes to school and does everything without taking a break and is looking after his mother, he's doing everything right, and he's never been to prison for criminality and this. And those are things we need to start being honest about. That we cannot be, as black people, run up and down glorifying prison and glorifying crime. And then we have some billionaires that praise this gangsterism and gangsters and so on. And I think that's the wrong direction.
If banks will do background checks on employees, why should we not do the same for a mayor? A mayor is actually a big deal. Just a mayor will affect either thousands or millions of people. Just a mayor will make decisions that are more impactful to citizens than a branch manager of a bank, and yet the banks have far more stringent requirements when they hire a clerk or a branch manager than a nation has when hiring a mayor, minister, MP, or president. How does that make any sense? Why don't we take ourselves more seriously, guys? Political figures hold so much power over our lives. Nothing should be used to jeopardize their allegiance to the citizens. The more we have political figures with dodgy pasts and tainted reputations, the greater the chances of having political figures whose allegiance to citizens is compromised. The roles they play in their political jobs are not small. They are very influential positions in our country, in our lives.
I, Gwede Samson Mantashe, swear that I will faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic, and I undertake to hold my office as Minister with honor and dignity, to be a true and faithful counselor, not to divulge directly or indirectly
There's a problem, President. There's a problem.
any secret matters entrusted to me, and to perform the function of my office conscientiously and to the best of...
We actually have politicians that do not see the value of taking an oath. To swear an oath of office is something that was feared when people were more moral than they are today, when people feared God and his punishment above anything else. I know that many of you are not religious, but countries that feared God were preserved by this fear, knowing that their pact was with God and not with man. And that encouraged them to actually honor their oaths. In South Africa, we have people that swear oaths when they know very well that they are not worthy and do not even intend on honoring that oath. They know very well that they are dirty and deceitful and will continue to be deceitful no matter what. Jacob Zuma is that kind of man. He's not only an oath breaker, but he's simply not fit for office. And yet people want to make him seem like he's some kind of saint. They make it seem like he's the best politician we have in this country. He's famous due to his connection to the ANC, and that counts to his advantage. He's also old, and that adds to his charm. So because he's this very old man, people kneel and bow down before him and call him high names, whether he's deserving or not.
We have decided to heed your clear call, Baba, and unite, consolidate ourselves. We have all had our Damascus experience. The road to Damascus moment has happened to all of us 26 parties. We now know the truth.
People like Colleen Makubele view him as our Moses and call him Baba. This fake Ubuntu holds old people in high esteem even when they are traitors, thieves, and plain evil.
But there's a Red Sea, and there's only one Moses that has the rod to part that Red Sea, and is Ubaba. When they get to the Red Sea and they are stuck, they are going to call on this Moses to part this Red Sea, and will be there to cross over with him.
Jacob Zuma has given us too many reasons for why we should not put our trust in him. 2 weeks ago in our video on Deputy Mayor Eugene Modise and the DA, we spoke about the fact that Jacob Zuma was known to have a bad credit profile. He was a man known to be very bad with money, needing constant loans and bailouts. He was so bad with money that it was known within the ANC. This is a man who loved nice things, and when you love nice things and love many women without working to keep the money coming, your money will never be enough. Even the ANC had to discipline him for his bad financial behavior. Imagine being so bad with money that the ANC had to be like, no man, no, that's enough. Debt after debt after debt. Receiving money from all kinds of sources, and yet remember, he had a fancy job within the ANC and within the government. All that money was still not enough. So because of his bad financial management, Zuma ended up receiving money from bad sources. He ended up getting involved in the arms deal along with others. The point I'm making is that when you are compromised financially because of your poor discipline, you will find yourself in situations where you will sacrifice your dignity, your job, your family, and your nation. You will sell the nation and its secrets to people with money, just as he did with the Guptas. That is why we need credit and background checks done on everyone wanting to take on a government position so that they do not compromise our government. Years ago, we learned about how Jacob Zuma's money was not enough to do refurbishments to his Nkandla house. So, renovations were done using our taxes. He knows that was wrong, but he won't admit it. He likes nice things, but he has no money to fund them. There were days that the ANC would have stopped such nonsense from happening, but because of Zuma's cult of personality that had come about because of many people within the ANC, he was treated like a god now. People like Julius Malema had made sure of that when they helped get Zuma elected. Over and over again, some new issue about Zuma surfaced, as if Zuma was testing how far he can go while the citizens simply cheer him on.
This man goes to the house of a friend. The children grow under him. They call him Uncle Zuma. Uncle Zuma. When he looks at them, he doesn't see children. He see potential women in children. In children. He did that for the first time. They accused him of rape. We said, hi, they are accusing him wrongly. He did it for the second time. He doesn't learn. Even if they say, give a person chance. We gave him chance. We gave him benefit of doubt when he did it first. Then he went second time.
Zuma is a cat with more than 9 lives, it seems. Just this year, it was revealed that Zuma's party, the MK Party, committed fraud. They stole people's ID numbers and signatures in order to submit them to the IEC for the registration of their party. It is a fact, and yet nothing has happened to that party. When Zuma went to jail, Cyril Ramaphosa with his rotten ANC bent over backwards to release him, and look at how that affected them. When VBS got mismanaged, again, we see the same characters, Jacob Zuma and Julius Malema, being involved.
The story, it would seem, finally coming full circle, 7 years after Nkandla broke. How did he manage to get this money together so quickly and pay it so quickly, 2 weeks ahead of the September deadline, in fact?
Talks have been underway since early September, facilitated by one of the Zuma patriarchs, one of the eldest sons of Jacob Zuma, with VBS Mutual. But there are several questions that have been thrown up with VBS Mutual, which it says on its website is one of the first wholly black-owned banks, but it's also partly owned, 25% owned by PIC, which you could argue then that the taxpayer itself is giving money to Jacob Zuma to pay back the taxpayer for that money to go back into Treasury. But there certainly are questions thrown up about the liquidity of this bank. It allegedly only made a profit of about 4 million last year. So where did they come up with 7.8 million is one of the questions that was thrown up on social media. And the other question that you raised is it's very difficult as a 74-year-old to get a loan, a home loan. Certainly he'd be 94 by the time he'd finished paying off this loan.
The same Jacob Zuma who has a bad credit rating, the same Jacob Zuma who owed several people money, the same Jacob Zuma who I wouldn't loan 50 Rand to, they gave him loads of moolah from VBS Bank.
The VBS Mutual Bank has now issued combined summons against the former president, arising from that loan that he obtained for the upgrading of his Nkandla home. That's after he defaulted on the repayments.
Did they expect to get it back? I mean, Jacob Zuma once bought a car in the early 2000s and the debit order did not even clear in the first month. That is the guy VBS gave money to.
The Pietermaritzburg High Court has ordered that VBS Mutual Bank can seize former President Jacob Zuma's assets to repay a loan worth 6.5 million rand. Zuma took out the loan after he was ordered to pay back the money for non-security upgrades made to his Nkandla homestead. His contract with VBS Mutual Bank stipulated a monthly payment of 70,000 rand over 240 months. He started defaulting on his payments in 2018, forcing the bank to seek assistance from the courts.
That is a guy you think is good enough to run our trillions of rands in an economy. Come on, guys, let's be serious. And now the news comes out that this man named the Carat King, or Louis Liebenberg, who defrauded many people out of more than 4 billion, has also been funding Jacob Zuma. Is anyone surprised there? In 2022, the man gave Jacob Zuma 500,000 rand, because Jacob Zuma is such a nice guy.
Well, police have cracked open an alleged diamond investment scam. This is where victims were swindled out of more than 4 billion rand over the last 5 years. The arrests were made in Gauteng in the northwest last night, and it follows a sting operation by the Hawks Investigation Unit. The 8 suspects include a prominent couple believed to be the masterminds of the scam.
So in 2021, Liebenberg had 100 million rand in assets frozen by the NPA's asset forfeiture unit after these allegations of money laundering and running a Ponzi scheme were leveled against him.
This same con man we are saying has been arrested was known to be conning people out of their hard-earned money. And as we see time and time again, once criminals in this country are ignored for too long.
This Carat King as his moniker goes.
Yeah.
A little bit more about him, and we know that he's been under the Hawks' radar for about 4 years now.
Absolutely. In fact, just last year, the former Police Minister Bheki Cele was questioned about this very investigation. That's been about 4 or 5 years in the making.
Once they feel like they've done all they can do in the criminal world, they then branch out and start to go for the taxes.
But Louis Liebenberg is someone that political reporters like myself have become all too familiar with, in particular when it comes to former President Jacob Zuma's court cases. He's been funding him, in particular when it came to that private prosecution against News 24 journalist Karen Moore, as well as State Prosecutor Billy Downer. Now, you remember that with a private prosecution, you have to put down a deposit before you can actually, proceed with the matter. And at the time, an amount of around R1 million was touted, and we believe that Liebenberg had actually funded around 500,000 rands of that amount. But also, when the party, that being the Umkhonto weSizwe party, was formed, Liebenberg was always front and center with the former president. There was a meeting just before the elections this year with a group of Afrikaners in Pretoria and Menlyn. He was there, where you'll recall that former President Jacob Zuma was assuring the Afrikaner community that they'd be safe if the MK ever led the country.
But in fact, I think that event, Zianda, was at the Maslow Times Square in Pretoria. Former President Jacob Zuma reportedly going on this charm offensive.
Yes.
It was called the Afrikaner Leaders Forum, and from that point on, we know that, well, actually preceding that even, that Liebenberg has been a Zuma benefactor. And according to some of the liquidation documents, we're talking about monies in the region of 3.4 million rand given over to the party.
Louis Liebenberg and his wife were part of this grand Ponzi scheme that basically defrauded citizens of around 4 billion rand. Then there could be an allegation made that the MK party has used money that are proceeds of crime.
Why don't you have a Zulu in the top 7? My goodness gracious, the Nguni group in South Africa, you must recognize and respect as the biggest group and the only one that really has a king that is active. And what did Ramaphosa do? Okay, he introduced him, then he said to him, let's go to the Soccer World Cup. Great. It wasn't safe for the Zulu king to go to the Soccer Cup, so President Zuma, the only ever good president we had after Madiba.
Yes, dear citizens, they start to have political ambitions. Their criminal activities will either continue to fund politicians, or they will simply become the politicians themselves. Following the same trend, this Carat King guy who was just arrested even registered to become a politician to get your votes.
So Louis wanted, I even on TV warned him not to. He wanted to be a political figure. I told him very clearly on Rion's show, first sort your past, pay all the people back, get everything sorted. You're in a financial industry proclaiming that you're selling and buying diamonds, stay in that. But make it professional, make it legal, because it's not legal. And I mean, SARS is after him as well. So he's just against the beers, he's against the authorities, he's badmouthed everybody and anybody, and he's jumped in bed with other, in my opinion, criminal organizations in order to establish his own political party and get people. But the 2 days before elections, we sent out a project warning the public, basically straight English, don't vote for this man. You cannot vote for this unstable character, this criminal. You will definitely waste your time, your vote, and obviously if you still pay him your money.
My question is, what gave him the confidence to believe that with all his scamming and frauding, with all his tainted reputation and dirty past, he stood to get a single vote from South Africans? Could it be that he has seen just how South Africans are in love with criminals? Just how ignorant citizens vote for rubbish politicians? The type of characters we have confidently starting political parties and even getting votes and seats in parliament speaks volumes about the type of citizens and voters you and I are.
And I want to say, instead of divide, and I've had the same discussion with Dali and Porfo, I had the same discussion with President Zuma. I've had the same discussion with Carl Niels. I've had the same discussion with 410 Afrikaans people.
Just this year, Louis Liebenberg was saying Jacob Zuma did not steal anything. He defended Jacob Zuma with all his might. He supports the MK party and he supports the EFF.
But I would support the MK. I've been supporting one of the Zamazamas there. It's the only EFF. He only had one T-shirt given to him for the EFF. So I gave him 10,000 Rand for his campaign, and I will give him more because he's working with us, and I like him as a person, and I also believe that
those are his preferred candidates, you see. And why is he doing all of this? It's because he wants South Africans to benefit from the mineral wealth. These are just words for South Africans to buy, and boy, do these criminals and politicians know just what to say to get into your mind and heart. Are you really that predictable, fellow citizens?
In Namakwaland, where I'm taking over Rupert's farm, you must help me to take over the mafia of Stellenbosch Farms Minister as much as possible and their mines so that we can feed the people.
In Zimbabwe right now, do you think the citizens are benefiting from their minerals? No. It is all the connected politicians who get to benefit, and at the center of the gold being looted in Zimbabwe, there will be these white people who fund and support these evil, corrupt comrades. When speaking to the nation, the politicians make noise about how white people are racist, yet for some reason, the same white people are in the inner circle with the comrades, sometimes even helping the politicians to loot. This Louis Liebenberg is one such kind of man. These kind of people are characters like Adriano Mazzotti and the Guptas. They rush to fund political parties that we as citizens can see are dangerous, but they will fund them because they know if they fund them, they will stand to benefit since the individual or political party they funded owes them.
I just want to know if you're funding MK or helping them to...
I will always fund everybody that needs help. If I see that MK hasn't got enough posters out and T-shirts, I sat at Groblersdal because there was going to be a big protest the next day with the EFF. I went and I saw Ali from the EFF for 2 hours. And I said, Ali, we cannot have this protest. This is going to become dangerous. Die boere raak moeilik. And I negotiated with Ali, and Ali stopped the protest. There was not one of the EFF protest there. We can negotiate with one another, and we can help one another to have... We are actually only...
How does it make sense that white people that make money through illegal criminal activities would be willing to fund political parties that are racist towards white people? Does it make any sense to you?
The mineral wealth should be in the hands of ordinary people, so it's neither here nor there. White people or my own brothers think that I'm stupid. I'm a businessman. If it makes business sense, then I would support the EFF to get control for the people, because it's all about the people. If I can get it in a different way and a different approach, like I've been explaining, then I would do it that way.
Well, it only makes sense to them because these criminals don't care. Jacob Zuma does not care where the money that funds him comes from, as long as he gets the money. VBS was money from our taxes, and it was money from poor people. This Louis Liebenberg guy got money from innocent people who tried to invest in diamonds. He takes the money and starts to fund political parties of his choice, of course.
I'm not really...
Do you still fund the former president with his legal fees?
As a matter of fact, I didn't recently, because I'm made to understand that he's okay. But I will... Dolly phoned me the other day that I had to help another comrade that was really in trouble, and I did that. And I will do that to any person in need, whether they are from the grab land, first land.
I know that someone is obviously going to come and start running their MK party mouth about Cyril Ramaphosa. Why are you talking about Zuma? He's not the current president. Stop with the whataboutism and go watch one of my Cyril Ramaphosa videos for that. Don't tell me to talk about Cyril Ramaphosa on a Zuma video. Cyril Ramaphosa is simply another dirty politician who has benefited from the way the ANC has betrayed the rest of us. Why would I waste my time defending Cyril Ramaphosa when he's dirty? This is a Jacob Zuma video, so get used to the fact that you are supporting Ubaba wako, the corrupt Jacob Zuma. This thing of supporting dirty individuals like Jacob Zuma and his party is a sign that we as a country have people who are lazy to think and reason. We have people that lack morals. We have people who lack maturity. Like cult members, they simply eat up whatever Zuma dishes out. They want Zuma to benefit instead of thinking about doing things that benefit everyone. No wonder Africa is backward. We support rubbish people while we are the victims of those same rubbish people. It is truly sad. Let's wake up, South Africa.
And then you also mentioned that you funded the former president's legal fees.
Yeah.
Do you know how much money have you spent on his legal fees, and are you still?
I don't know. I must ask Dali.
And do you still?
I sometimes it's fetched by other people, so I don't always know where it's going. I need to tell you a good story about that as well. But you can understand something. Diamond business is a cash business, and I can go and look properly at every cent. But in principle, I think my attorney can vouch for 7.5 million for Nkandla, and legal fees initially of about 9 to 10 million.
Zuma is funded by this man, Louis Liebenberg. This man defrauded people like you and I. Zuma was funded by VBS. VBS looted from people like you and I. It's just ridiculous. We are all victims of these people, but for some reason, you would rather fight me and stand up to defend these hyenas. Wake up, South Africa. Wake up. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm Katlego. This is Citizen Concerned. And until next time, beware of the comrades.